What is happening, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. In today's video, I'm going to discuss and ask the question, is the Dodge Challenger reliable? So I received a question from one of you viewers out there, and I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but I wanted to discuss whether the Dodge Challenger is a reliable vehicle. Now, I've talked about that it's a good daily driver, and I've mentioned a lot of different things about it, but I've never really touched upon the reliability of this car. Now, it's not a secret that Dodge is not known for their reliability. I mean, there are some cars out there that, of course, have 200,000-300,000 miles on there, but there's a lot that have like 80,000 miles and, a lot of things have broken on them. So I wanted to discuss from my point of view what I think the reliability is of this vehicle and, discuss what issues I've had with this vehicle so that maybe if you are looking to purchase this car, you'll have a little bit more information and be better informed going into the purchase. So when I bought this car, it was owned by two people over the course of about 1 year. So I don't know how the previous owners really drove this car. All I know is they took it to Dodge service and it was recorded on the Carfax. And, according to the Carfax, there were no other known issues of this vehicle, but you know how it is. Sometimes you can take it to a local mechanic and that won't register or be registered on the Carfax, and you won't know what's going on with this car. You don't have the full service record. But I knew that going in. I knew what I was going into, and I have 15,000 miles. Now it's been about a year, a little bit over. I got it in March of 2018. Right now it's May of 2019. So I have 23,792 miles on this vehicle. So I've put about, 8,000 to 9,000 miles over the course of a year and a month, or year and 2 months, I should say. And so I have a little bit of experience with some of the reliability. Now, if you think about it, the first two owners in the first 10 to 15,000 miles were probably the hardest driven miles on this vehicle. That's just kind of the nature of the game when you buy a used sports car. You assume that the previous owner probably took it to redline, probably braked real hard and accelerated real quick, and who knows if they followed the correct break-in procedures. So it's hard to say how those two owners drove the car, and it's hard to know what kind of effects that's going to have at 50, 60, 70,000 miles. But since I've owned this car for about 8,000 to 9,000 miles, I think some issues, if they were there, would have been presented at this point, or at least I would have gotten some sort of an idea that, hey, this is going to be an issue, in 10, 15, 20,000 miles. So that said, please keep in mind that I only had this car for about a year and I'm at 23,792 miles. So I don't have a full comprehensive history of this car, and I don't have 5 years of understanding and driving this vehicle to tell you exactly what's wrong with it. Also keep in mind that it is under warranty. You have a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty on this car. It's still under warranty, and so any problems that I might have will be fixed under that warranty. So it's hard to say how reliable this car is going forward. But let me talk about my experience and what I think of this car. So over the course of my ownership, I have never taken it to the dealership for any material problem that I've had with this car. I've taken it to the dealership 3 times. 2 of which were for regular routine service. So I take it to the Dodge dealership for that multi-point inspection and oil change and everything else that they throw in there to charge a little bit of a higher premium over a Jiffy Lube. But I've taken it twice for that because they recommend, I think, every 6,000 miles you take this vehicle in. And so I took it in when I first got the car, and then at the 6,000 mile mark after that, I took it in again. The third time that I went back to the dealership was actually an issue not pertaining to my vehicle, but it was due to how they installed and rotated my wheels when I went in for the first service. So if you've seen my video, I think it's titled Dodge Messed Up, and it talks about how when I went in for my first service for this car, they ended up switching my or rotating my rear wheels to my front wheels, and I have a different setup in the back. I have 315s back there, and so putting 315s on the front is definitely going to cause issues. And I at first didn't notice it until I was going on big turns, and I heard some rubbing sound, and it just wouldn't handle very well. It was kind of shaky on the freeway. And then I did a quick glance because somebody had asked me what wheel and tire setup I have, and I checked the wheels again, and I noticed that the large 315s were actually put on the front of the vehicle. And so that wasn't an issue on my car, it was an issue on the dealership and having misplaced or misinstalled the correct wheels, which is kind of a ridiculous thing to do. But anyways, I had to go back and rotate it because I don't have a lift, where I live, and I don't have a impact gun, so it would have just taken me a lot longer to do it myself, and so that's why I went back. So those are the 3 times I've gone to the dealership. Other than that, I haven't gone back for any powertrain issues or any type of sounds or creaks or really any issues I've had with this car. And granted, this is a 2017 model, so it's about 2 years old, and like I said, it has 23.7 thousand miles on it, and so it's it's been overall really reliable for me, and it's kind of surprised me because I was hesitant to go with Dodge just because of some of the reliability issues that you hear with Mopar products. But I gotta say, from personal experience, I have been satisfied and impressed with the reliability of the Dodge Challenger. I have had 2 minor issues when it comes to the Uconnect system here in this vehicle, and one of those I've already kind of mentioned in a previous video. I think it was the 8 things or 7 things I hate about my car. I mentioned it in that video, but when I'm driving sometimes, and this hasn't happened for the past probably 3 or 4 months, but before, when I was driving this car, I would be driving around, it'd be working fine, and then all of a sudden the screen would kind of freeze up, and I wouldn't be able to turn on my radio, I wouldn't be able to control the climate or anything. It was just kind of completely frozen, and it would stay like that maybe for a minute, and then it would shut off and reboot and restart, and all this time you're still driving and thinking, well, hopefully it doesn't shut off any other computer system in this vehicle because I'm going 70 on the freeway. And so that was an issue I had, and I never really brought it up in the dealership, but I think with the last update they might have done the last time I went in for service, that issue might have been fixed because I haven't had that come up in the past 4 months, and I've used it on a variety of different screens, and I've used the performance pages and the climate control, the heated vent. I've used all the screens here, and it hasn't done that to me yet. So I think that issue's been fixed. I know one of you guys, the subscribers, you mentioned on that video, you commented that you had the same issue with your Dodge Challenger. It was only like 3 months old, and you took it in for the dealership, and they replaced the entire unit to a brand new Uconnect system. And so, that's for those of you out there that may have the same issue. That was something that was brought to my attention that I didn't think about doing. But if you have that consistent issue, I would recommend you go in and get that changed under warranty before your warranty expires. And like I said, I haven't gone back to the dealership to get it fixed because it hasn't happened to me again. But if it does, I will definitely follow that subscriber's advice and get it replaced while it's still under warranty. The second issue I noticed with my Uconnect system was actually more recent, and that had to do with the satellite radio. So I have Sirius XM, and it's a separate sub-menu under your radio preset menu. And so you hit the radio button, then you could hit Sirius XM. Well, I did that a few weeks ago, and it would be stuck on one channel, and no matter what button I pushed, whether it's the buttons on my steering wheel or the buttons on the screen or restarting the head unit, it wouldn't change the channel. And when it did, it would just stop the music altogether. So if I'd be stuck on the 70s channel, I'd try to click up, it wouldn't change, or it would go to mute, and all of a sudden I couldn't go back to the 70s channel. Like, it was just really glitchy in terms of the Sirius XM, but every other radio station was working fine. FM, AM, those were perfectly fine. I could switch through the stations. It was changing on time. It wasn't like laggy or anything. But when I switched to Sirius XM, it would cause some sort of error. Like, I couldn't change the channels, and it was just really frustrating and annoying. I restarted. I did the power off, power on the head unit, just using the controls here. The one thing I didn't do was restart the car because I was driving, and so I couldn't really have a chance to pull off to the side of the road and restart it. But when I did come back later, when I parked the car and came back to it, it was working just fine. But I don't know if any of you have had that experience with the Sirius XM menu. I don't know if that's just me, but that was one issue I had, and I haven't had it since. That was a few weeks ago. So I'm pretty sure that was just some weird glitch and not related to anything else. But those are 2 minor, very, very, very minor issues that I've had that I haven't taken this car into the dealership for. But of course, if they continue to happen, I will. But other than that, this car has been really reliable. I mean, I really can't complain about anything. Now, if you really think about it, the platform of this vehicle is about 15 years old. I mean, it's based on a mid-2000s Mercedes E-Class, and then this car came out, the Challenger came out, or I guess I should say came back in 2008. And so the car is about 11 years old. I mean, yeah, they've updated the interior and exterior, but for the most part, it was just a facelift. It wasn't like a brand new generation. So the frame and everything like that is still the same car as it was 11 years ago when it came out. And so a lot of the issues that they may have had over the years, in my opinion, have been probably worked out throughout the manufacturing process. I mean, I haven't seen any recalls or anything like that because some of those things have been already kind of worked through the previous model years. So if you're looking at more of a newer era of Dodge Challenger, maybe from 2016 and up or 2015 and up, you probably shouldn't face as many issues as you would with maybe the late 2000s Challengers, because those were brand new coming out, and so they may have had some issues that weren't worked out throughout the manufacturing process. Now again, I don't have any statistics to back this up, but this is just my personal opinion because this car has been more reliable than I thought it would be. So like I said, in my opinion, I think that's because this car is so old and it's been around since 2008, and so any issues that it may have had in previous years have probably been worked out throughout the process. Not to say that you're not going to have, any issues with this car, because of course every vehicle has its own problems, and it doesn't mean that that's just how they manufactured it. It could just be your vehicle in particular, or it could be a much widespread problem, but I haven't had any issues with it. So if you are in the market for a Dodge Challenger and you were curious about the reliability, from my personal experience, I have had no issues with it aside from those little minor Uconnect problems. And I think that you should be comfortable getting a car with around this mileage, in maybe the low 30s or below, and not really worry about having too many issues or too many problems that you have to fix. Now, before you go out and start jumping and getting a new Dodge Challenger or a slightly used Dodge Challenger, I would warn you that, this car is a sports car, and a lot of people out in the market do modifications, and they've added a lot of things to this vehicle that may have either voided the warranty or reduced some of that reliability. I mean, I know some people who have put superchargers and prochargers on this Scat Pack, and they end up having issues down the line because the warranty is voided and it's just too much power for this engine. And so I would be kind of wary if you're going in that direction, if you're buying a used car that has some sort of mechanical modifications to it. I think that's when I would say, you might want to be sure that you know how to fix some of these things before you jump out and get that type of vehicle. But if you're getting a stock or close to stock Dodge Challenger, I think you'll be fine reliability wise. And plus, Dodges aren't too expensive to repair. They're not like some German vehicles where one part will drown you $500-600. I think Dodges are usually more reliable, and usually more people can work on them than with complicated German cars. I think the 6.4 liter in this vehicle is really well engineered, and it's been put through a lot of tests and a lot of stress, and so I think it's designed to take on a lot of high speeds and a lot of stress on the vehicle and not really cause any issues. And same with the ZF 8-speed automatic. I mean, this is in a lot of new vehicles, and so it's been refined and it's been processed. And I think both the transmission and the engine, the powertrain of this vehicle, is probably going to last you longer than maybe some other things on this car. And so if that's one of your main concerns, I think you should probably not worry about that, because it's a pretty reliable car for the powertrain. In terms of the other parts, who knows how the technology will last, but again, it's pretty well built, pretty simple. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully this provided some new information for you. If you guys happen to have any other questions on this car, whether it's related to the reliability or something entirely different, I would love to make a video about it. So definitely leave a comment below and let me know what that topic is, and I can definitely discuss it if I have experience with it. And be sure to find me on Instagram at Schwazy_. I try to post daily, or at least every other day, videos or photos specifically of this car. So if you want to see more shots of this car that you not see on YouTube, I would definitely like and follow the Instagram channel at Schwazy_. Well, be sure to like, share, and subscribe the channel, and I will catch you all at the next video. Take care and have a wonderful day.